Shadowguard Fortress stood on the border between the Kingdom of Celestria and the foreboding Darklands. The Bastion had seen incursions from the ominous and largely untamed lands for centuries. However, the hostile forces were disparate and lacked unity. That was until the Dark Lord rose from among the denizens of the Darklands. Sir Caleb, a knight of noble bearing, has been dispatched to reinforce the stronghold of Shadowguard Fortress. His task leads him to confront an enemy he has faced time and again, Shadowmaster. The clamor of battle sounds out as the forces of light confront the darkness that threatens to overflow across the boundary of Shadowguard Fortress. "Shadow!" Caleb cries out in rage. On the plain beyond the fortress, a mass of bodies gives way to as a ragged figure, wrapped in black rags, walks forward to face the noble knight. Shadowmaster, much as his name suggests, is a figure of darkness. Even the man's face is obscured by dark cloth, and from his hands ooze tangible shadows that manifest as whips and chains. A valiant warrior of Celestria charges the figure with his sword raised valiantly. Sir Caleb almost yells for the warrior to back down, but there is no time for intercession as the warrior meets the encroaching menace. Shadowmaster's gaze never leaves Sir Caleb's form as he continues walking forward. The whips and chains of darkness act with a will of their own, lashing out at the warrior. The warrior's sword never has the chance to fall on its target. The inky tethers grasp the man and, in an instant, cut through his body. Flesh falls away as more blood is added to the field at their feet. "Bastard!" Sir Caleb curses as he charges across the field. As if having waited for the signal, the battle picks up in haste once more. Caleb brings his shield to bear and plows through the acolytes of darkness that come with knives and demons. His shield scratched by the vain efforts of the fodder, Caleb breaches the distance to face his enemy. "You will not leave here alive, Shadow." The noble knight bangs his sword against his shield. The taciturn Shadowmaster cocks his head to the side and looks at his enemy. His gaze smolders with hatred. Shadowmaster's mission comes from his master, and too often he has failed that master. Too often the accursed knight Sir Caleb has intruded on his business. He cannot fail again. He must kill Caleb and capture the fortress. The alternative is not something he can accept. While Shadowmaster considers the implications of his task, the noble knight wastes no time in charging forward. This time, when the inky shadows that strike out reach their target, they hiss and wither. The blessings of the light that Sir Caleb serves protect the man from the weakest of assaults. But Shadowmaster's power is not without depth. Shadowmaster lets the shadow flow from his hands to form a pair of ebony short swords. The knight with his sword and board meets the man of darkness with his twin swords. Shadow and steel meet as both parties seek the death of the other. Caleb's strength and durability are great advantages in close-quarter fights, but Shadowmaster's movements are fluid, precise, and lethal. Any gap in Caleb's defense would lead to a decisive end. All around them, the battle wages on. The horde of acolytes and their demonic thralls seem limitless, but the valor of Celestrian soldiers is undaunted in the face of the darkness. In their battle, Shadowmaster dances around and away from Sir Caleb. He weaves sword strikes with devastating power against the defensive knight. Caleb has grown accustomed to the style with which Shadowmaster fights. It's frustrating, but he knows from experience that if he can withstand the terrible offense of the dual-wielding man, it will be his victory. Were his face visible, Shadowmaster would no doubt be snarling savagely from frustration, and yet his eyes, visible as they are, show no such emotion. His gaze is serene. He simply continues his fruitless assault. The longer their battle lasts, the more uncomfortable Sir Caleb becomes. What is he up to? The knight wonders. A blast sounds out from behind the ranks of Celestrian soldiers. The ramparts of Shadowguard Fortress shatter under the cataclysmic weight of fell demons that fall like meteorites from the sky. Damned warlocks. Sir Caleb realizes that he needs to act now. The soldiers in the fortress won't be able to handle the demons. He can't waste any more time on Shadowmaster. With a hateful glare, Caleb turns from the dark envoy and begins to rush to the fortress's defense. Shadowmaster, for his part, watches with a hint of amusement, but the levity of the moment is lost as his shadow whip strikes out at the nearest Celestian warrior. The battle's only begun.